just so you know, out of these 100 movies, there is exactly one that I rated 6 stars out of 5. Okay, so this is part 2 of my 100 mini horror movie reviews. If you would like to see what are rated from basically 0 stars to 3.5 stars, then that will be part 1. I may still have some, yeah, I can see I still have some 3.5s, but this is going to go all the way up to the top. Oh, and yes, I am still wearing the sunglasses to protect my identity because some of these ratings might be controversial. I don't know. They're rated out of 5 stars, but only based on my enjoyment. So let's see. Continuing from part 1, still in the 3.5 category, we have The Killing of a Sacred Deer, 2017. So emotionally intense and unfailingly disquieting. Great performance by the cast, especially the kids portraying facing their potential deaths. Some pieces of the plot felt weak when discussing the past, ending with unsatisfying. I don't remember a lot of this one. Maybe I should rewatch it. Still in 3.5, we have The Mandela Effect 2021. I remember really liking this movie, but until the end. And then I feel like the end, it's really hard to write a satisfying ending, okay? I just want to say that off the bat and like forgive a lot of these movies for weak endings because it's really hard to end a story. That's actually part of why I believe that horror lives in short form. Anyways, let's get on to the Mandela Effect. Premise is fantastic, if not a bit silly, and the acting was really enjoyable and convincing, even the little girl. Sadly, as many horror movies do, it went one scene too long at the end, which took away most of the impact of the climax. That is a little bit different than it being tough to end the story is that, and I went over this in part 1 as well, that a lot of movies tend to go like one scene too long or they have like extra scenes that could be taken out and make the movie stronger. So yeah, I definitely would rewatch it though. Oh, we're into 4 stars now. 2011's Dream House. Honestly, all I can think of is Barbie Dreamhouse anytime I hear those two words put together. Enjoyable, engaging plot throughout, and the climax was unexpected. Rachel Weisz is always a treat. Some parts are confusing, but the sense of disorientation is on theme for the story. Very end was unnecessary. Yeah, sometimes I fear that trying to be concise, because obviously the point of the project was to be able to write more concisely. I fear that in some of these reviews, my desire to write concisely actually lost what I was trying to say. So that is something that I'll need to improve on. Obviously, Rachel Weisz is always a treasure. Here we have Escape Room Tournament of Champions. The first escape room is also in this pile of reviews. And the bad escape room, which is not part of this series, was in the first part because it was very bad and it was rated 1 star. So, yeah. Anyways, let's look at 2021's Escape Room Tournament of Champions. Shockingly good for a sequel. Heh, heh. If you've seen it, that shockingly good. Get it? I think that was an accident. The players were more interesting, and Taylor Russell really brings the character of Zoe to life. Of course, there are some cliches, but it still managed to be engaging all the way through. Ending is the setup for a sequel. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure this was a production that was killed during the whole problems in Hollywood during the lockdown period. And sadly, because it is so clearly meant to be a trilogy, the story was obviously written from the beginning with 3 movies in mind. Um, it's really frustrating that we aren't getting third movie. I mean, I don't think we're getting it. I would love to get it because seriously, these are some of my favorite movies. I know it's weird to say that horror movies are your comfort movies, but I personally really, really love the escape room movies and I watch them a lot, and it just makes me sad that we're not going to get the ending. So, if anyone has any connections, see if you can make that ending happen. Or if my first novel becomes a bestseller and I become the next famous author with lots of money, then I will personally fund the third escape room movie myself. Huh, that's funny. The title of this movie also ends in room, but it is 2015's Green Room. This movie, this movie, highly atmospheric and disturbing, pretty much right from the start. The main cast was incredible, but oddly, Patrick Stewart gave kind of a weak performance. A few super gory moments don't hurt the heart pounding moments of anxiety. Yeah, this is a very stressful movie. If you're easily impacted by stress, or like those kind of like heart pounding, being like trapped, claustrophobic. Anyways, I would maybe skip this one, but it is such a good movie. It really is. And it was Anton Yelchin, of course, who we sadly lost in the most bizarre, unlikely, tragic accident. Seriously, it still blows my mind that that even was able to happen. But we lost a good one. But his performance in Green Room was really, really good. So I highly encourage you to watch it. Still 4 stars, we have Pyewacket, 2018. A sad movie that takes a pretty realistic look at grief. Enjoyable throughout, but it does take a bit too long to get to the spooky stuff. Great job on the witch. Main actress Nicole Munoz does an excellent descent into madness, and the ending. This is one of those mother-daughter horror movies, like it's centered around a mother-daughter relationship. So if that's a sensitive point to you, like it is to me, um, I don't know how you'll feel. I still rated it high, but it is very sad. Man, 2018 really was the year for like all of the grief-based horror movies, wasn't it? Or at least there was like that period of time, like elevated horror, with Hereditary and Get Out and what's the other one? What's the other one? Oh, come on. Midsummer and anyways, it's interesting that those all came out in like the 2018, 2019 time, I believe, because I'm fairly certain that the Babadook came out in like, was it 2014, 2015? I should have looked this up. I mean, I saw the Babadook a long time ago, so I can't exactly remember, but I feel like it was the first one that did the whole like grief as a monster thing. Like, not the first, obviously, but like it was, I think the Babadook started this. What do you think started the whole trend of grief as, I mean, like the modern trend of grief as monster or as catalyst in horror movies? What do you think? I vote for the Babadook, but what do you think? Ah, here's an older one, 2004's The Machinist. Definitely succeeded at the very unsettling vibe to capture the is it real or not thing. Christian Bale is actually great in this kind of role, better than action roles. Story was gripping and unfolded at just the right pace to hook. Definitely a psychological one for the history books. Honestly, The Machinist is a really good movie. Um, and I'm sure everybody already knows like the whole tale of how Christian Bale went from doing The Machinist to Batman Begins, and he like lost and gained like 100 pounds between like the muscle he packed on for Batman and like like the weight he had lost for The Machinist. And I just like every time it comes up, I have to repeat it because I just think that even though, everybody has their issues and everything, I think it's really cool when actors are able to dedicate themselves to that sort of degree. Anyways, here's one I definitely remember loving. It's 2021's PG Psycho Goreman, an ideal party movie. The main girl is super intolerable, but accepting campiness is the only way to enjoy it because everything is silly. Some genuinely funny moments and very quotable lines, lots of gore and great practical effects, but some parts are just bad. Yeah, this is definitely like a movie that you are not meant to take seriously. And I just want to say so many things about this movie. Okay, first of all, it is hilarious. It's so good. It's one of the funniest, like, comedy horror movies I've seen in a long time. Second of all, I know it's unfair to hold child actors to standards. I talked about this in part one. However, the lead actress just is like really annoying. And I do think that they probably could have toned that down a little bit. Honestly, if she had been like 10% less annoying, Psycho Goreman would have gotten a 5 stars for me. It's the only thing that keeps it from being 5 stars. And also, before we move on, I just have to say that I respect this movie so much for its practical effects. Seriously, it has the vibes of like the original Star Wars movies or like I can't even think of another example because I'm blanking right now. It's very original is the thing, but like it's just it gives the vibe of people who were doing something that they really, really love. And I feel like when people really, really love stuff, that comes through the art. And I guess I connected with that in this case. So, highly recommend Psycho Gourmet. It's probably a great movie to watch drunk, like I said, at a party. So, watch it with your friends. Still in 4 stars, going all the way back to 2002, is 1 Hour Photo. Very creepy and real feeling. Robin Williams was convincing, and the cinematography color theory was masterful. Ending felt a bit lazy. There is one jump scare, but it is earned. And it is very, very earned, believe me. Um, yeah, I remember that this movie was like kind of a big deal because it was after Robin Williams had done like all the like more like fun kid-friendly stuff. Um, Also, if you want to watch an amazing video about Robin Williams and like his movie history, like at that time period, I will link Lindsay Ellis's video about how he basically changed the voice talent industry and well, or anyway, I'll link it and I'll link it in the description as well. Anyway, yeah, he's good at being creepy. It's what I'm to say. It's like it was like oh like when like John Lithgow played a villain in Dexter or like when Bryan Cranston was Walter White in Breaking Bad, right? It's like everyone knew him as a sitcom person and then like he's creepy, so ah, yes, I have some feelings about this one. It's 2014's Unfriended. Would have probably been a perfect horror movie if it weren't for the end, because having Blair close the laptop ruins the whole gimmick. Legitimately scary throughout, but they shouldn't have shown the monster. All the actors were good too, very convincing. So, yeah, it's just that, like, I guess to keep from being too spoiler heavy, um, I will say it just it's a screen life movie, so it all takes place like on Messenger and stuff. It's like it was sort of one of the originals, I think, to do that, if not like recently it was like that and like Searching with John Cho, who I would love to see in more lead roles. John Cho for more lead roles. Anyways, um yeah, it's just they break the gimmick toward the end. And it sucks. So that's the only thing. Otherwise, yeah, it would have been 5 stars for sure. It's a great horror movie, really good one to watch with friends. Moving along, 2020's The Vanish effectively sets the creepy tone right away. Film alternates between a dreamlike state and a nightmare. The slow descent into madness is chilling. Ending was good and quite unexpected, but seemed rushed. Honestly, I'm gonna need to rewatch this one because it sounds like I had so many good things to say about it, and yet I can't remember a thing, so sorry. Now, for even more of a blast from the past, we have 1980s Terror Train, which I confused for the Midnight Murder Train, or the Midnight Meat Train. The one with Bradley Cooper. Anyways, I did eventually watch that one, but I confused this one and that one. So it was a little bit. Anyways, 1980. I believe this was, if I'm not mistaken, one of the first horror movies that did the slasher killing off people one by one, but like vanishing and like nobody it like knows who it is. It's somebody that's like among them. It's very like Murder on the Orient Express. I guess now that I say that out loud, I'm like, yeah, duh, it probably is like Murder on the Orient Express. I was also thinking of Agatha Christie's, and then there were none. But obviously, Murder on the Orient Express, but like, it's not, it's like, that's not the ending or like plot at all. But it does ring true, I believe, of being a horror movie set with people being picked off one by one. I believe it was one of the earlier ones, because if I'm not mistaken, Halloween was 1980, and Black Christmas, I think, is considered the very first slasher. If I'm remembering my dead meat trivia properly, thank you, James and Chelsea, for teaching me so much about horror movie history. I'm even actually wearing a dead meat shirt right now. Moving on. Next up, 2013's Jug Face. Not exactly horror, but definitely creepy. All the actors were perfectly cast to be unsettling. Medium gory. Could have done with more focus on the shunned and more explanation of the cult, though the opening credits very cleverly summarize the plot. Yeah, it's one of those ones where if you go back and rewatch the opening credits, you're like, oh, this like tells the story of like not the movie, but like what kind of like led up to the movie, the practices of like the cult, like I said, like that you see. It's a very weird movie. I found it on several lists of like mind bender horror movies, but again, it's not that scary. It's just really unsettling. Lights Out, 2016. Powerfully emotional, particularly for fractured mother-daughter relationships, and actually quite scary throughout. Brett deserved a better ending, but the character dynamics were all awesome and well acted. The gimmick can be a bit irritating. Lots of fake outs and jump scares. Honestly, I found this one very scary, but it is mostly jump scares. So if you don't like the style of horror that's like, oh, something's gonna be there, something's gonna be there, and then it's like there is nothing there, and then they turn around and it's terribly out there. It's like a lot of that kind of stuff. So I liked it. Back to 2002 for Dark Water. Such a sad movie. Like most J horror, the scary parts are really only at the middle of the story. The time jump at the end is kind of unnecessary, but it does make everything even sadder. Ikuko's child actor was incredible. It wouldn't work without her. This is a movie I'm pretty sure they remade in English. I don't remember what the English movie is called, but it's like if you've seen a horror movie with like a little girl in an elevator attacking like a mom and her daughter, then yeah, that was the remake of this. This is the original from Japan. It's better, believe me. This one is actually a little bit special for me. It's 2022's Smile. It was the first movie that I went to see in the theater with my friends after everything with the lockdowns was over and done. And it was also my first time seeing a horror movie in a theater. See, I only started watching horror while we were all cooped up at home because I was like, I need to feel something. And I've been terrified of horror my whole life. It was a lot of it was my mom's fault, but I just never thought I would like it. And then I started watching the Dead Meat channel, actually, was the first thing. Watching the kill counts made me feel more capable of watching the full movies. And then once I kind of got past the need to sort of like, because I think what put me off of horror movies initially was the like stress factor of like not knowing what's happening. So when I would watch the kill counts, I could be like, okay, I know like where like a lot of the stuff is. So even if like I still want to watch the movie, I'm like gonna know what's happening. So I feel way less stressed out. But then eventually you learn that the stressed out part kind of is the fun part. It's like the adrenaline part. I guess it's a little addictive. I don't know what to say. Oh my gosh, sorry. 2022's Smile. This is a film full of jump scares, some of which are good and some are not earned at all. Very creepy, but the pacing is a bit unbalanced. Excellent performances from all the actors, although Rose as a character is somewhat frustrating. It's a sad movie if you're sensitive to mental health issues being like discounted, discredited, weaponized against you, if you are sensitive to like you're being crazy and like the whole like nobody believing the main character dynamic, then maybe it's not for you. It is sad. There also is a cat passing away, which is, I know, very par for the course for horror, but I still don't like it. Oh, one final note about Smile that actually has nothing to do with the movie, but my experience in the theater. See, I was there with my friends and we were all enjoying, and there was a group of people down like a few rows, maybe more than a few rows in front of us. Anyways, they were down in front and they were being really loud. I'm fairly certain they were teenagers. Not that I mean that in like a derogatory way or anything. I'm not being ageist. I just think they were teenagers. So they were not only talking, but they were being like loud and they were laughing. And laughter completely ruins the mood and ambiance of a horror movie, and especially a horror movie like Smile, where like everything about Smile is in the sound engineering, it's in the ambiance, it's in all the little quiet moments of anticipation and stress. And anyways, these people were ruining it. So despite being a very non-confrontational person and a person who will generally do anything to make nice with anyone, I got fed up and screamed at the top of my lungs for them to shut up. Well, I actually screamed for them to shut the up. But anyways, yeah, I was feeling kind of badly after that happened, even though they did quiet down from that. It worked weirdly, but anyways, I was like, oh my God, I shouldn't have done that. That's so embarrassing. Then when the movie ended and we were all getting up and getting our coats and stuff, all these people who are coming down the stairs to leave were stopping me and saying, "Oh my God, thank you. Oh my God, like, thank you so much." Like, oh, I wanted to say that, but like, I was too chicken to do it. Like, you rock. You're so brave. Like, thank you. And I was like, oh my God. Like, so I just want to say that you should never be afraid to stick up for people. I know that sometimes we all get, afraid of being embarrassed. But the truth is that the people who are doing something wrong are the ones who should be embarrassed. And so if I, this tiny little fairy right here, can stand up to a whole group of teenagers, then I believe in you and whatever you want to do. Anyways, let's move on. Here's a classic, 1995's Seven. We're still in 4 stars, by the way. Aged surprisingly well. Obviously, both Brad Pitt and Morgan Freeman are excellent, but Gwyneth Paltrow feels unnecessary except as a plot contrivance. This is a great thriller, but it could be shorter, and at times the pacing is a bit awkward and slow. I think everybody is pretty familiar with this movie, so I won't say too much more about it. I do think it could be shorter, like many horror movies. There's just filler they could take out. Next, 2017's Marrowbone. Strong movie overall, although the first 3 quarters rely mostly on jump scares. Excellent climax. That's what she said. I'm sorry. The impact of the ending may vary depending on personal experience, but there is no question that every performance from the cast is flawless. Huh. Again, I should rewatch that. I don't think I remember enough about it. Ooh, here's another great Japanese horror. 2000's Uzumaki. Now, I'm sure everybody who has ever seen any artwork by Junji Ito is familiar with Uzumaki. It might be his most like well-known piece. I'm actually not sure. Um, Let me know in the comments if you think that Uzumaki is Junji Ito's most like well-known, like most recognizable. I mean, like his artwork is very recognizable, but I mean, like I think if you think of Junji Ito, your mind goes to Uzumaki. Anyways, this is a live action adaptation of the manga, obviously, from the year 2000. Captivating in its strange way, very reminiscent of David Lynch, but much more coherent. Actually, quite creepy at times. It probably could have leaned more into the manga style. Riko Hatsune was great as a teenage lead who isn't annoying. I will say that I find Japanese horror movies often have less infuriating children, but I don't know if I just haven't I haven't watched that many Japanese horror movies. Like I've watched like few, like a good handful, and I've watched a few others, like other genres. Anyways, the point is that the thing about watching J horror, especially J horror from the 2000s, is like you can't expect the like level of cinematography of Hollywood because like that's an American style. That's not how Japanese movies are like made. And I think that if you look at things like the original Grudge and the original Ring, it's like you have to be able to get past the kind of like Western mindset of expecting like the CGI, like the gore and like the fast-paced action of a Western horror movie because it's just not going to happen. It's like it's a lot more like slower, a lot more creepy stuff, and practical effects are very cool, very unsettling. But it's just like I do find that I've tried to show people Japanese horror and they've been let down because they were expecting a Hollywood movie, and it's just like it's not it, man. Ooh, we're moving into 4.5 stars now, getting close to the top. The first one we have here is 2009's An unexpected roller coaster of emotions runs through this movie. Sam Rockwell delivers a phenomenal performance at every turn, gorgeous cinematography, and a haunting soundtrack. Not really scary, but definitely unsettling and poignant. Yeah, it's not scary in terms of like the types of horror that most of these other movies are. But I won't say anything else about it. You just need to go watch it. Go watch it right now. I mean, not right now. Please, please, please watch the rest of this video and then go watch. Alternatively, you could pause the video, go watch it, and then come back if that, please. I was just thinking of this movie earlier, actually. It's the movie is called B4. It's from 2012, and the B4 is a clever, not a pun, but like a play on, like, it obviously says before, but it's also like the parking structure that the movie takes place in. It's like B is the parking garage, and then 4 is the floor, I believe. Um, Let me just read the review. With a runtime of 50 minutes, this film is exactly as long as it needs to be. The acting is mostly good. It gets shaky at points, but the plot is really cool and doesn't try to be more than what it is. Mind-bending and creepy, but not terrifying. Yeah, this is another psychological one. If you like messing with time, timey, wimey, wibbly wobbly, yeah, that's one of those. Oh, I was just talking about this. 2018's Hereditary. An incredibly original idea executed by amazing actors. Runtime could probably be shorter, but the descent into grief-fueled madness is very well done. It just kind of dragged in the middle. Could have spent more focus on the cult history and grandmother, or mother, depending on which character you're talking about. So I did give it 4.5 stars. I know some people are probably outraged and saying that it's definitely a 5-star movie, but like truth is that it drags in the middle. It does. It's just like it goes too long and not on the right stuff, in my opinion. I wish that the stuff with like the neighbor lady had also been a little bit like more time spent on. Anyways, I'm sure that I am not one to tell. Is it Ari Aster? Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I should know this. Oh, I feel so bad. Anyways, this is like a real movie person in Hollywood and who is insanely successful. And I am just one lone fairy with, a YouTube channel. So I know it's not my place, but I do think it's just too long. Oh, I have another favorite here with Annihilation 2018. Love this. Very creepy with a few effective jump scares, but the horror aspect is more psychological, weaving sci-fi and mind-bending fear. Unfortunately, even though she's great, Gina Rodriguez was a walking trope, and her meltdown in particular felt out of character. Okay, so I have since rewatched this movie several times, and I have looked at, I've thought a lot about what it means, and I have watched some really excellent video essays and just like videos about it. Obviously, you guys know if you've watched any of my videos that I am a big fan of the Folding Ideas channel run by Dan Olson. He did a great video called Decoding Metaphor Annihilation, I think, something like that. I'm gonna link it. I'll link it in the description as well. I think he does like a really good, concise breakdown. I think that video is only like 12 minutes or something. So if you want to get like a good, clear picture that like really changed my mind about the Anya character, who is played by Gina Rodriguez, then I highly recommend watching that video. So next up, we have Green Inferno 2013. Now, Green Inferno was one of those movies where everybody was like, oh my God, people are throwing up in the theaters, people are passing out in the theaters. It was like one of those, like, I think, at least in some circles, it sort of became like, oh, like it's the horror movie. So I was very reluctant to watch it and only watched it towards the very end of the year that I was doing this movie project. And hilariously, it starts exactly the same way as my review for Aftershock, which is the first part. This is definitely an Eli Roth movie, which is to say, gratuitously gory, some violence of a personal nature, perhaps. Yeah, also, like, there's no beating around it. It's like another movie where native cannibals are the villains. And if you watched part one of this video, then you definitely saw my review of Cannibal Holocaust, which is another movie that is like, look, I'm not going to go into it again. It was just also in my review for Bone Tomahawk, which is also in part one. I was like, what are we gaining by making the villains natives in these movies? Why can't they just be monsters? Like, why can't the villains just be monsters? Like, what is, like, we just don't know what we would lose by not villainizing, like, entire groups of people just because, like they live in this case like the Amazon or like wherever that are like untouched by Western society. Anyways, look, I could go on, but this is supposed to be a review video, so let me actually read you my review. This is definitely an Eli Roth movie, although less gory than expected, with a deeply disturbing story and great acting. It's like it took all the good concepts from Cannibal Holocaust and became the movie it should have been. Plus, there's no graphic scene. I think I forgot to mention this in my review of Cannibal Holocaust, but like Cannibal Holocaust is the title of like the movie, but in the movie, the filmmakers are making a movie, and the movie they're making is called The Green Inferno. So I think that like literally Eli Roth was like, oh, I'm gonna shoot like because again, if you watched my video, you know that Cannibal Holocaust is like has like a documentary kind of framing device, and you don't see everything from the footage that was recovered. So I think that that's sort of what Eli Roth was doing there, and I think he did it very well. It's very weird to say that I enjoyed this movie because it's like it is a bit of a rough watch. Um, but it's also a really good horror movie. What can I say? 4.5 stars. Moving along to 2014's Annabelle. One of the best movies set in the past actually feels like it was made in that era. Excellent cast. The pacing is a bit strange with the lead-in taking up most of the runtime, but the climax was great. Tension and fear combined. Awesome use of the doll. When I first saw the trailers for Annabelle, I was like, oh no, are we just getting like another Chucky, like another like spooky haunted doll chasing you? No, that's not what we got at all. I really liked Annabelle. And I mean, I really like the Conjuring movies, so I'm glad that they share a universe. And yeah, it really authentically feels like the past. It doesn't just feel like somebody dressed up a bunch of people in like modern day California and put them in like, period clothes or whatever. It like actually does. I don't know what they did differently, but it just feels like the past and I highly recommend. Okay. People might actually be a little bit mad that I rated this one so high. It's 2019's Countdown. Shockingly compelling and well acted. Tom Segura was a great addition to the cast and story, which was a great balance of legit horror and comedy without being cheesy. Ending foreshadow was very clever, but the actual end was weak. I really had a lot of fun with it. It like when I say not cheesy, like the entire premise is kind of cheesy, like an app that tells you when you're gonna die. But I do think the execution was really good. Man, talk about a throwback. 1959's House on Haunted Hill. Premise holds up insanely well, and despite the age, it's actually quite spooky. The effects do require some suspension of disbelief. When the time period is considered, they're pretty impressive, and all the reveals toward the end were well thought out. Vincent Price is priceless. Speaking of cheesy, oh my gosh. Yeah, if you watch House on Haunted Hill, you're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this movie is nothing but like horror tropes, but like kinds of tropes that you see on like Scooby Doo, like kitty horror." And it's like, yeah, that's because like it's where it came from. It like so much of it came from that. Also, how can you not love anything with Vincent Price in it? Staying in the past, I guess, we have 1981's Miss 45. Definitely not the average rape and revenge film. It's very cool to see a disabled protagonist, but it would have improved things for her to show more growth throughout the murders or more of a descent into madness. Zoe Temertis is gorgeous and gives an awesome performance. I believe I watched this one when I was becoming more curious about giallo movies, and it is not a giallo movie. It's, well, I mean, like, it has some elements, but it's definitely like rape and revenge. And that's not my favorite subgenre of horror. I'm sure you can guess why, but that's sort of what brought me to that movie. And I will say that versus other movies of its subgenre, it's a lot more cathartic. Now, this one, I'm actually surprised I didn't rate 5 stars. It's 2018's The Ritual. Every monster movie should take notes from this one on how to do a reveal. Great tension building, fantastic sound engineering, such an original plot. The acting is a bit mediocre, but that may be intentional to make things more realistic. All jump scares are earned. Yeah, I've since rewatched this movie like 10 times. It's so good, and I definitely have changed my opinion. Like, the acting isn't weak, it's very intentional. All the actors are great. It is a movie that you want to watch in the dark. Don't let people ruin the atmosphere for you. If you haven't seen it, just watch it start to finish in the dark. promise you are in for a ride. Well, speaking of 5 stars, we're now in the 5-star category. And remember, these movies were rated 5 stars based off my personal enjoyment. So, absolutely, you can disagree with me. If you do, let me know in the comments. If you agree with me, let me know in the comments. Um, but yeah, these are all 5 stars based on, like, subjectively, my own personal enjoyment. First up, 2019's Us. A truly terrifying concept that was executed perfectly. Brilliant sound engineering. The subversion of stereotypes and lack of race-focused plot points was refreshing. All the main cast were incredible. I don't want to say too much about this. If you haven't seen it, like seriously see it. The voice that Lupita Nyong'o uses for her like alternate like red character is potentially the scariest thing I've ever heard. Like it's like if somebody did like screamo vocals inward and could talk like that. It's really scary. Returning to the lovely subgenre of rape and revenge, 1978's I Spit on Your Grave. Yes, I rated it 5 stars. Rape scenes make up a third of this film, and they are indeed upsetting. The revenge is cathartic at least, with an excellent, chilling performance from Camille Keaton. Surprisingly beautiful cinematography. It's clear why this is a cult classic. Just be prepared for stress. Honestly, if you are upset by the visualization of sexual violence, do not watch this movie. It is one of those movies that part of the horror is just how long it goes on for, and like you end up having to look away and avert your eyes because like it's just going on and she's screaming and these men and you're like, when will it stop? And like it's so full. But I mean, like, again, there's a reason it's considered a classic, all things considered. Next up, 2018's Possum. Fans of the Babadook will probably enjoy this very art house movie. Extremely creepy and unsettling, with very dark subject matter. Not a good choice for those with a fear of dolls or puppets. It is a little bit on the long side, but the mystery is captivating to the end. The other thing I would probably say is again, if you have a issue with um, sexual violence themes, especially aimed towards boys, 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 yeah, maybe don't watch this one. Next, we have 2020's Underwater. Spectacular performance by Kristen Stewart. Even though there wasn't much to the characters, they did a lot with limited time and opportunity. Plot was strong, and the execution made for a very freaky movie. Monsters were well done. Yeah, it's an underwater monster movie. I won't say more than that. Another from 2020, and one of my absolute personal favorites is Freaky. Absolutely hilarious. Horror comedy can be hard to pull off, and though it has a couple cringe moments, this movie is brilliant. Vince Vaughn is a true delight to watch. He has many laugh out loud moments. The love story aspect may be one of the best horror romances. Everything about this movie is perfect. It is a great party movie. It is a great watch on your own movie. It is laugh and cry and just like it's so funny, but it's like good. It's original. If you like body swap movies, it's probably the best body swap movie out there. I'm telling you, watch Freaky. I think this one is definitely going to make some people mad. It's 2018's The Nun. Actually, quite compelling and scary. Both main characters are likable, though the hot priest trope is a bit strange, and the handling of the supporting nuns in the convent was genius. The costume design was also amazing, as were the sets. There were so many beautiful dresses I wanted in this movie, even though, like, many of them were like sort of like habits. Habit is in like what nuns wear, but I happen to know that a lot of people think that the nun is like the weakest part of the Conjuring franchise, but I see to disagree. If you watched my part one, then you definitely knew this was coming. 2005's The Descent. A freaky, evocative, well-paced film that doesn't rush to the monsters, but feels scary almost right away. So effective at the high-stress claustrophobia. Expect breath holding. Jump scares are earned, but there are many bait and switches. Ending was satisfying. This is such a good movie. I didn't realize at first that it was found footage style, and I have to say that it really works. And again, I think that it's important that they didn't rush to the monsters, yet were so effective at making even just the parts with the people feel so like you just feel like icked out right away. And yeah, again, I mean, we're in the 5-star section, so you're going to be just hearing me like highly recommend, but I do. And here's one that probably everybody has seen is 1999's The Blair Witch Project. No question about why this movie was so influential to the horror genre. Creepy as hell with so many interesting theories about the end. Incredible concept, and even though the actors were annoying, that was part of how believable it is. There's not much more to say about that. This next one was completely unexpected for how much I liked it. Like, it is rated 5 stars. It's the movie Till Death, 2021. Such a great performance from Megan Fox. Not only was she so compelling to watch, but she carried the entire movie in a skilled and relatable way. Similar vibe as Gerald's Game, with a more fun and thrilling plot to watch. 5 stars! Exclamation mark. But seriously, I feel like a lot of people go really, really hard on Megan Fox, and I'm not saying that she is a perfect person, but as far as acting and like fun movies go, I brought it up earlier, but here it is. Do you want The Grudge, the original from 2002? Very much deserved the attention and cultural impact that release. Terrifying concept with a simple execution is so effective at having a lasting impact. The more understated acting made it scarier. All the credit goes to the sound engineers. Seriously, sound engineering will make or break a horror movie. And Japanese horror movies like know their sound engineering. I'm excited about this one. It's 1973's The Wicker Man. So again, if you watched part one, I talked about the remake of The Wicker Man with Nicolas Cage. And as much as I love Nicolas Cage, that is a bad movie. It is a bad, bad, bad movie. And this is an excellent movie. This film is a wild ride from beginning to end, providing several metaphors and allegories to explore the ideas behind things like cults and colonization. Christopher Lee is a goddamn treasure. Even with the bizarre diegetic musical numbers throughout, still very spooky. I mentioned in the remake that they took out all the songs and it completely changed the vibe of the movie. It's much scarier when characters are just randomly singing. And when I say diegetic, like yeah, it's like happening in the movie, like to the characters that are singing. Next up, 2020's Vivarium. Top-notch psychological horror. No gore, no jump scares, just a truly disturbing situation. Imogen Poots really carried the film, although the child actor did a great job at being more unsettling than most movie monsters, and Jesse Eisenberg was good. I love Jesse Eisenberg. Some more of my comfort movies are the Now You See Me movies. Another trilogy that I don't know if we're ever going to see the third movie of, but that is a different story for a different day because those are not horror movies. But in any case, I do love Jesse Eisenberg. And Vivarium, again, it's so creepy. It's just disturbing. No gore, no jump scares. It's not like woo spooky. It's like in your head, like I couldn't get this movie's premise out of my mind for days. Also, if you like the idea of liminal horror, you will probably like this movie. Moving along to 2014's 21 Days. Great found footage movie that effectively scares with jumps and increasing stress. The actors were convincing and fun to watch. although the characters were a bit frustrating sometimes. Excellent story and a satisfying ending as far as horror goes. I did really enjoy this movie, and I know in a lot of these reviews I say that the characters are annoying. And now that I've spent more time watching horror, remember, like 2022, I was still pretty new to the whole thing. And now that I've spent a lot more time thinking and appreciating and learning about, cinema and horror, I feel like you can't have a story without contrivances because the story needs conflict or there is no story. So it's complicated, and I shouldn't be so hard on screenwriters for making characters annoying because, like, we all think we'd make the right decision, but I would second guess that. I certainly don't think I would. I would die so fast in a horror movie. Another personal favorite that I have watched many, many times, 1408 from 2007. Perfect horror movie in almost every way. John Cusack nails the slow and then rapid descent into madness, and of course, Samuel L. Jackson is great. Earns its single jump scare. Incredible adaptation of a terrifying concept that is so effective. Can you believe how much modern horror is based off Stephen King books? It's just a lot, like a lot of even like the most seminal and like most well-known mainstream horror stories, a lot of them are Stephen King. Also, do not be intimidated by 1408's runtime. It flies by. You will not feel the runtime at all. Well, I've been talking about the universe for both parts of this video, and now here we are, 2013's The Conjuring. This would be the perfect movie to introduce someone to supernatural horror. It goes from mildly creepy to straight terrifying, probably more so for parents. All the child actors are very talented. Patrick Wilson is always a joy to watch, probably one of the best scary movies. That says it all. Next up, Conjuring 2, 2016. This movie had huge shoes to fill due to the quality of its predecessor, and it very much rose to the challenge. High impact scares, and arguably a more emotionally resonant storyline, too. A very satisfying resolution. Honestly, hard to criticize anything here. It's pretty crazy for a sequel to be better than the first movie. That almost never happens. And I don't think it's better, but I do think it's as good, which is also crazy. And of course, 2021's The Conjuring 3, The Devil Made Me Do It. Or I guess it's just called The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. The third installment in a horror franchise has no business being this good. Legitimately terrifying, incredibly well acted, and such a strong story. Not only a scary movie, but also a heartwarming tale of love. Extra props to Julian Hilliard for his enormous range. I also watched the documentary that the story of the third Conjuring movie is based on. Obviously, that movie is called The Devil Made Me Do It, and the Netflix documentary is called The Devil on Trial. I would highly recommend watching it if you want to learn more about the actual, like, real life story of this family. Um, However, I will give you a warning that if you only know the story of Ed and Lorraine Warren from the Conjuring movies, then maybe just continue living in that blissful ignorance because the real life people, Ed and Lorraine Warren, were terrible people. They capitalized on people's grief and stress, and they basically coached people into saying what they wanted them to say in order to make money off their stories by writing books and selling stuff. And anyways, it's not at all the same as the characters in the Conjuring movies. And personally, I would like to think of them that way. So if you don't want to have your opinion of those characters ruined, then maybe don't watch the documentary. Okay, this one was just freaking awesome. 2022's Deadstream, Shudder original. Sticking with this movie is super important because being annoyed at the beginning is part of the impact. It does require a certain level of suspended disbelief, and sometimes the monsters look costumey, but overall the experience is seriously terrifying, worth watching. it starts a little bit like weird, like it's um okay, without giving spoilers, I'll just give you the conceit that like the movie is about a like YouTube, like basically IRL streamer, Mr. Beast combined with like Jack Doherty, if you will, and he was canceled. It's not revealed at the beginning why. Uh, and then him exploring this haunted house live on stream is his like big comeback. So you you are going to be annoyed with him in the beginning, but it's worth sticking with him. Believe me, it's so worth it. Oh, this gives good competition for potentially my favorite horror movie if it weren't for that one 6 star that's coming up. This one is 2009's Triangle. Totally incredible from start to end, worth every nail-biting second of the runtime. Perfectly constructed in plot and internal mechanism. Slightly too many spooky over-the-shoulder shots, but everything else was immaculately done. Time mechanics can be very challenging. I mean, just ask anybody who's ever like actually a time travel story. This isn't time travel, not quite. I'm not going to say any more. You really need to watch Triangle. Oh, we looked at its sequel, and now we're looking at 2019's Escape Room, the good one. This is a really fun watch. Evokes the feel of an actual escape room and makes an effort to take an original spin on the idea. Could use a bit more foreshadowing regarding the company running things, and Zoe's character arc is a bit abrupt, but otherwise it's pretty great. I think they're good movies. Okay, everyone, here we have it. The singular 6 out of 5 stars. I actually had to draw another one on the page. It is 2018's Gonjiam Haunted Asylum. This movie, this movie. It was with me for so many days that I actually procrastinated writing this review because I was so scared. Potentially one of the scariest movies of all time with next to no gore. This movie is like the Blair Witch Project on steroids. It's the kind of thing that sticks in the mind for days. Really appreciate the use of body mounted GoPros instead of the handheld. So it is found footage, but all the characters in the movie have GoPros mounted on their shoulder and then also like on like an arm like mechanism that's like mounted in the front so that they can see their faces. And so it's a lot more steady. Like obviously all found footage is going to be a little bit shaky, but this is much less nauseating than the Blair Witch Project, for example. If you couldn't tell by the title, Gonjiam is a Korean horror movie, and the asylum was actually a real abandoned asylum. And there was some drama with having the movie made because the Korean government wanted to demolish the building. And basically, as soon as this movie wrapped filming, they were like, take it out. Oh, and why did I give it that extra star? Well, because it is the only movie to ever be so scary that as I was watching it, I was so frightened that I wanted to look away and couldn't. Like, normally, if there's like a really gory scene or something I'm like really freaked out by, or like animal death or something, then I will just like look away, cover my eyes. Like, I'm a big baby for some stuff. I love horror, but some stuff just gets me. I was frozen, paralyzed. I couldn't have looked away if I wanted to, and I really wanted to. Oh my gosh, that's all of them. That was 100 micro reviews of random horror movies that I watched over the course of 1 year. I really hope that you enjoyed it. If you are still with me, thank you so much for watching. I said it before, I'll say it again. It truly means the world to me. And like I said in the first part, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me, if you have other comments on the movies that I talked about, please let me know in the comments. I cannot wait to have discussions about everything with you. Otherwise, stay happy, stay healthy, because you are precious.